Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Monday, October 6, 2025 Board of Trustees meeting for the Village of Lansing. Our first order of business tonight is to do a roll call. Susan Ainsley.
Present.
Carolyn Greenwald.
Here.
Kathleen Yin, and Pat Gillespie. Thank you, and Ronnie Hardaway's here. The next order of business is a public comment period that I will open. This is for anyone who is in the room, in the room or online who would like to speak to a topic that is not already on our agenda. Is there anyone? None in the room. No one online. Hearing none, seeing none, I will move that we close the public comment period. We'll need a second.
Oh, second. Oh, Patrick already got it.
Did he?
Go ahead.
Okay. Thank you, Patrick. Next order of business, we have 2 minutes, sets of minutes, through draft minutes from Jody. For the September 11th draft minutes, everyone was in attendance, so everyone can vote to approve that. I will move those draft minutes.
Second.
I think Susan just barely made it. Any discussion about the minutes? I saw that there were some requested revisions that Jody took care of, but anything else?
No, just as corrected.
Okay. Then all those in favor of approving the September 11th, 2025 draft minutes, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And the second set of minutes, there were only 3 of us available. That was when Jody and Patrick and Carolyn were at the NICOM conference. So I will move the minutes for September 15th.
Second.
Susan seconds. Is there any discussion about those minutes?
No, as corrected.
Okay, everything's corrected. Okay, all those in favor of approving the draft September 15th, 2025 minutes, say aye. Aye.
Oops. I didn't say anything.
All right. Oh, yeah, abstentions, obviously, by not being here. Okay, thank you. 2 abstentions, Pat and Carolyn. Okay, our next order of business tonight is I'm sure you also saw the emails regarding the possible changes, additions to our proposed local law G that we have made available tonight for a public hearing. We need to discuss those changes and which changes we want to accept or not accept and what to do about tonight's public hearing and a potential future public hearing. So does anyone have any comments on changes?
Well, I attended the planning board meeting, and the concern that the planning board has is that they want to maintain a certain aesthetic in the village that doesn't involve a lot of consecutive drive-throughs. And theoretically, when parcels can be subdivided as of right and have a drive-through as of right, you could wind up with a very small building and drive-through. So we came up with a series of safeguards to prevent that. And it's probably a better idea to both make the change to commercial low traffic and employ the safeguards at the same time, as opposed to approve one and then go back and approve the other. So I would suggest that we amend the law as necessary and notice the public hearing.
For those of you who are not sure, that would be the version 2 local law G that Natalie sent to us this afternoon. And I guess on page 4, paragraph Q, those are the additional conditions, 1, 2, and 3. Is there any other discussion?
It's a little bit of a shame that it's all tied up together with the changes for business and tech, but it's not a huge emergency to take care of the business and tech. It's more important that the code changes, kind of come out exactly how the planning board feels is the best safeguards for the character of the village.
So there were 3 that you summarized, and I'm just wondering if you could just highlight version 1, 2, 3.
You have a copy.
Yeah.
The additional condition.
Definitive. So the version 2 and 3,
So version 2 has the 3 additional conditions that would be required for high-traffic food and beverage and commercial medium traffic. That being, there should be no more than 1 drive-through permitted on any single parcel in commercial medium traffic, and an establishment with a drive-through must have a minimum calculated occupancy load of 60, and establishments with drive-through shall not be located on contiguous parcels. For purposes of that subsection, parcels separated by a public or private road shall not be considered contiguous, even if the property line extends to the center line of the roadway. So that would be incorporated, the 3 additional conditions recommended by the planning board. And then version 3 of the local law circulated omits any reference to adding in high-traffic food and beverage to commercial medium traffic, and would just proceed with the agreed-upon business and tech changes, as well as the change to the administrative banking offices, just as an alternative if either board wanted more time to debate the commercial medium traffic, high-traffic food and beverage conditions, but still proceed with those changes which have been agreed upon.
It's just that how are we going to renotice? We have to renotice it.
so the high traffic would still be allowed in business tech and the health.
We didn't talk, all the business and tech stuff that we already agreed on is all exactly the same. It only has to do with commercial medium traffic.
Yeah, so there would be no changes to the other uses in high-traffic food and beverage, so it would still be allowed in commercial high-traffic, BTD and HHS with special permit. This is just changing the additional conditions required in commercial medium traffic and adding it as a use in commercial medium traffic.
And then there was the question about the updated language for definitions
For the entire code?
for the uses.
I don't think this law is taking.
That's separate.
So that's going to be a separate law. So this was discussed between Carolyn and Mike Baker, that because of the specific situation in the business and tech park with Cornell, that we are going to move forward with changes to BTD and HHS now, while the planning board is working through the chart of uses, since the overall changes to the chart of uses is going to take quite some time to get through. So while we have the agreed upon changes to BTD and HHS, to get those through, and then any changes.
At all the meetings right now, they're talking about those definitions. They're tweaking those on an ongoing basis, but they're not ready yet to go forward with those yet, but they will. There's a lot of changes that they're going to propose.
Right. And I'm just wondering the impact that will have as requests come into the planning board.
Requests for what?
Any kind of development.
Any special permit application that is put in prior to the local law changing will just go by the current definitions. And Mike generally will look at the use and see how it best fits into the various categories that we currently have allotted for.
By Mike
Mike Scott, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so we have 11 additional uses for business technology and 14 additional uses in the health and human services to provide more flexibility. I think I prefer the version 2, just because it incorporates the recommendations from the planning board.
Same?
Same. Susan?
Agreed.
Okay. So what we will do then tonight is cancel the public hearing for the current version. You want to set a public hearing for this version 2, a date. So before we vote on that, there is something I want to read, and I want these minutes put into, here's my words put into the minutes. For several years, I've heard from board members, village staff, and constituents about the eyesore at the Asian Kitchen property on 11 Graham Road West. That nearly 3-acre lot has sat vacant for too long, resulting in a zombie business that is a magnet for graffiti. When a developer expressed interest in revitalizing the site with multiple restaurants, I was hopeful. It seemed like we had a chance to replace blight with activity and a stronger tax base. Unfortunately, the developer soon discovered that many national chains are no longer pursuing full sit-down restaurants. That the COVID-19 pandemic changed their business models. Drive-through service has become the cornerstone of success, while formal dine-in restaurants face shorter lifespans, often only 3 to 5 years, unless they constantly adapt. That brings me to my concern. The planning board's newly added conditions to tonight's proposed law, paragraph Q, high-traffic food and beverage and commercial medium traffic district, risk making the perfect the enemy of the good. By tightening restrictions, we might block a viable development proposal while waiting indefinitely for some ideal project that might never come. The truth is, many possible uses are allowed in this commercial medium traffic zoning district, and not all of those uses would be popular in the village government or our residents. Why turn away a real opportunity to improve the property, increase activity, strengthen our tax base, and address an eyesore? I appreciate the planning board's willingness to consider high-traffic food and beverage uses in this district, but because of the additional conditions, I cannot support, and I will vote no for the proposed additional conditions within the local law.
You can email that to me, please? I'll just cut and paste it in.
Yes. Okay, so we must, first of all, I suppose we should cancel tonight's public hearing. So I will move canceling the public hearing for local law G.
Second.
Carolyn seconds. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Now, for the scheduling of the second version of local law G, which date do we want to pick? Next Monday?
The sooner the better.
Okay, so that would be October 20th, correct? 14 days from today.
Yeah.
Okay. And it will be at 7:35 PM. Would someone like to move that?
I so move.
Susan moves. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Carolyn seconds. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say no. No. Okay, it is set for October 20th, 2025, 7:35 PM.
Bonnie, we could have like discussed it rather than read a statement if you wanted to, like, you know, because I've been at planning board meetings and trustee meetings where people have presented their ideas in a constructive way, and we've had discussions, and people have come to different conclusions. I know in this case, it would involve going back to the planning board and, you know, sharing concerns with them, and maybe they would still make the same recommendations, but I think collaboratively, we could have had a discussion about it. If you thought it was not in the best interest of the village, I would be very happy to have, you know, pursued it as a conversation rather than like a 4-to-1 vote, which didn't have, you know what I'm saying?
Thank you for.
There might be like, I don't know, like we were like, okay, what are some safeguards we can do? Let's try these 3. If you feel like, well, one of those is really kind of going to defeat A purpose or B purpose, or maybe 2 of them, or I don't know, we could have.
Well, that's why I offered up version 3 to move forward with BTD and HHS and table or continue discussion on CMT.
Yeah, we could have done it like that. But the planning board is definitely pretty concerned, and I know as a general way of processing things, we usually really like to consider their ideas and work together with them, so I could see why you wanted to just say nay and not have us discuss it, but in the future, I would like us all to hear each other's thoughts if they're gonna be different than kind of what the group wants to say.
And there were concerns about just the delivery vehicles and from our DPW superintendent.
Those will still come up, because if somebody puts in a proposal for a building and they can't get a delivery vehicle, then that's not gonna fly with how they do their site plan.
Right.
So those concerns will definitely still be raised.
No, I do recall those conversations.
We had both sides of the conversations with regard to drive-throughs that don't have any stores. I told them all that, I grew up with that, and it was a different world, but I really appreciated, when I had small kids, having certain drive-throughs, and also when I was a child, we had like a Milk Barn drive-through that was very popular at where I grew up at the time. So even though the planning board really wanted to see some sit-down restaurants and didn't want to have a string of 4 drive-throughs with no seating, which I understand, and we could have, addressed it as a group, it would have been probably a productive conversation.
Some of the discussion was had at our last meeting,
True.
so I didn't see any point in covering the same area to come to the same conclusion.
But you knew, some things were new, like the seating, the size of the seating, that would just happen at the last planning board as an addition.
And because I, like you, have attended or zoomed in on all the planning board meetings, and I think an underlying concern for me is there seems to be a developer interested in that parcel. However, I get mixed, just conversations that happen amongst everyone, the planning board, us. And certainly, there was some conversation about a local developer coming in and wanting to do XYZ. And then the planning board got involved, and then it got sticky, with seating capacity of up to 60. We kept building. So I think we need a clear sit-down discussion, because we don't want to lose the opportunity with that corner piece. I've looked at that corner piece since 1990. Even when it was operational, it was a tear down, in my opinion.
Hopefully, it's not too restrictive, and we can still see something happen there, because we did just make it more open to development.
Open, but maybe more restrictive with one particular party.
Well, I would just make a note that we're also legislating for the zone,
That's right,
not for a parcel.
that's right.
So you need to think of other parcels in that zone that could potentially be redeveloped. And do you want to allow for that throughout the entire zone? And I know there's one particular parcel that is coming to mind for everybody, but I mean, I know that the planning board had a lot of concerns about the appearance, traffic congestion, idling vehicles in multiple drive-throughs very close together, and that they feel like decisions have been made quickly to be accommodating before, and that has led to potential negative consequences. So they just want to be thorough in their recommendations. And Kevin, if you have anything else that you want to add as planning board liaison, feel free, as I'm just interpreting what was discussed at the planning board. But I think that was the general sentiment of the planning board.
And it goes back to our next discussion, which is that if we had design guidelines for the North Trip Hammer corridor, then that would assuage a lot of people's concerns about a lot of things.
Any other discussion on this topic?
Did
Kevin.
Kevin want to say anything?
Yeah, I would just say that, I've been listening in a lot of the meetings, and there are a lot of concerns. I don't know that any one meeting that we really landed on one solid, good answer to it. And it did really, to me, feel like there should be more conversation and discussion about it. There are a lot of good ideas that were brought up in the last meeting that we hadn't even really thought about. So maybe it's just not fully baked yet. But we certainly don't want to do anything development for sure. And that's just my take on what's been going on. But I'm also new to the board, so take it for what you will.
Thank you, Kevin.
And I think we wanted to be very careful that there was no appearance of spot zoning also in all of the discussion to date.
Yep, rezoning for the zone.
Any other discussion? Okay, moving on to the next topic tonight. We have a presentation from Terry Carroll, who is the Chief Sustainability Officer for Tompkins County.
All right, thanks for
Hi, Terry.
hosting me here. Let's see if I can share this.
This is like one of the most interesting legal issues we've had.
This one?
Yeah.
Right. So, as Ronnie said, I serve as the Chief Sustainability Officer for Tompkins County. We've been working on a project recently that we wanted to inform you of and have a request for you as well. It's a solar canopy. So you can see here is a picture, not of the solar canopy around here, but we wanted to give you a sense of what this looks like. If you're interested in seeing a local one, we do have one at the airport. And where we're talking about putting this is at 55 Brown Road, which some of you might know is the county health department, or what we now call whole health. It's where that red indicator is on the map. And what the solar array itself is going to look like, it's a solar canopy, so it'll be over the topmost row, the northernmost row of parking. This actually covers the lot where we park most of our county vehicles for our whole health fleet, as well as our EV charging stations that are there that charge our fleet of electric vehicles. The array itself will not be feeding into the electric vehicles or into the building itself. It'll be what's called front of the meter, so it'll be selling directly to the grid, and then the funding will go to offset the county bills, electricity bills, because as you can imagine, we have quite a large energy expenditure year over year. This is another picture. So the one on the left is the structural design of what the array itself will look like. The picture on the right is a rendering that we asked our contractors to put together to give a sense. And so this is the actual site itself and what it'll look like at that site. It is not currently viewable. It won't be able to be seen from the road. It's blocked on basically all sides. The only potential people that'll be able to see it are obviously the people at the county health department, but the building that's kind of in the background there will somewhat have an obstructed view by the intervening trees. The solar array itself is 132.75 kilowatts. It's made up of 225 panels. It's about 280 feet long, 24 feet wide. And in terms of height, it'll start at about 16 feet 11 inches and at a 5-degree slope rise all the way to 19 feet 5 inches. The NICEAG interconnection, so when we interconnect with the grid, it's going to be in the NICEAG right of way to the east of the array, and I have a slide that'll show that picture. And for our stormwater management system, we're going to be using gutters, which I have a picture of as well.
Terry,
Yeah.
I know that our solar, or recently passed solar code, solar law.
Yeah.
We have a height limitation of 15 feet.
Yes.
And why did you go above 15 feet?
We have our plow trucks that go through there, as well as some of our facilities vehicles that go to the facility and also park and charge there, some of our electric vans. And it was a concern of our facilities director that having a lower height would obstruct the vehicles and lead to potential issues. And so it was a desire on our facilities director part to the contractor to make sure that it would be of a sufficient height that most of our trucks and plows would be able to go under it.
And that's the lower edge,
The
correct?
lowest edge will be at 16 foot 11 inches.
That's important because I know we've discussed several times across several years about the mall or someplace like that, installing something similar within the parking lot. And it's good to know that we might have to allow for a little bit more heights for those plow trucks to get under there. I don't think that's anything we actually considered.
We didn't consider this at all. We were really thinking about people's front yards.
Yeah, so this is and this is, will be the first one, certainly outside of the one at the airport. And I'm trying to remember exactly how high the one at the airport is. I wasn't here when it was installed, so I don't know offhand, but we can certainly get you that information. I skipped forward a couple here, but this is the NICEAG interconnection. It's obviously a little bit of a sketch, so it's hard to see, but the array itself will be on that topmost parking spots where you can see it kind of lined out. The line is really indicating, so we'll be basically putting in a trench that'll run the wires underground. It'll go to the NICEAG right away, which is in a copse of trees to the east there. And there'll be a new pole that'll be put in with some inverters up at the top, and that'll be the hookup. So there won't be a big transformer pad or what you might assume to see at some of the other locations that you might have seen solar at before.
So your cable will be below ground, but you're connecting into above ground.
We're connecting we would then surface at the pole and go up the pole to the transformers.
Okay.
This is the details of the gutter system itself. So you can see it'll be on the front of the solar array panels. This is similar to the system that we have at the airport, if you ever go there and look at our solar canopy in the short-term parking lot. So it'll funnel into the gutter system, and it'll then deposit down, and we're currently talking about where exactly we want the water to go. There's obviously the concern if it's just pooling down at the bottom, whether that'll cause some ice issues or whether we can have it go into the grass that's behind where the solar panels will be. And so we're still kind of updating this a little bit, but that's our current thinking. Our original plan didn't have any stormwater management, but in conversations with Cornell, who I'll get to, they were advising that we do this.
So there's no, as far as you know, there's no stormwater collection system close by?
Not close enough. It would be a task to get to it. We'd either have to trench through the parking lot itself, so I think currently there's thinking, if I go back actually a little bit to this potential slide, there's a kind of like a dry stream that kind of runs, I think, to the east there, and it goes to, I believe, a collection pond that's on a property south of us. And so Cornell has suggested that as a potential spot for us to run the water to. The project is it's going to cost us about $1.1 million. Roughly $825,000 of that is going to come from a Clean Energy Communities grant, which is a NYSERDA program that the county was able to receive funding through. And then the remainder will be covered at first by our capital account, but the hope is to recoup that difference from the IRS clean energy tax credits. And the reason I bring that up is because that's was a key piece of when we were putting this program together. And the tax credits saw some major changes by the congressional bill, the One Big Beautiful bill that was passed by Congress this year. And so there's actually a pretty substantial difference for the county whether we're able to start construction this year or next on our ability to collect the tax credits. If we're not able to start construction this year, we will be pretty unlikely to receive those tax credits, which are going to be worth about $300,000, $330,000 to the county. And in general, the county usually self-permits, self-inspects its projects. We don't go through site plan review for all of our projects. And so this is where we get into the kind of the ask, and part of the reason why we're bringing this to all of you is we were in the process of developing this project. We had the designs, we were going through it, and we started to talk with Cornell. You may or may not know that the county does not own the land at the health department. We have a ground lease with Cornell, and the condition of that ground lease, one of the conditions asks that we get a letter from the municipality in question, which is the Village of Lansing, saying that that this meets their zoning requirements without variance. And obviously, we just brought up that it doesn't meet that without variance. And in this case, that the county has decided that it will not go through site plan review. That was a directive from our legislature. So what we're asking is that if the Village of Lansing would write a letter on our behalf, basically to Cornell, acknowledging that the county will likely use the Monroe balancing test to allow us to exempt ourselves from local zoning regulations and be able to proceed without village approval, site plan approval. And then in addition to this, Cornell is also requiring that the county will sign a decommissioning agreement so that future entities will not have to deal with a non-compliant structure. So that was a key part of this, is that they didn't want us to leave the health department for any reason. A new entity comes in and then they have to go to the Village of Lansing, and it creates issues, or it creates some impediment to be able to transfer, sell, or lease the property to a future potential tenant. For us, the reasons why we want to do this is, I think it's pretty clear we have big green goals that we're trying to reach. We're trying to reduce our greenhouse gas emissions. We're trying to become more energy independent. We see it as a way to reduce our overall energy burden. Many of you might know there's a NICEAG rate case going on, and so we're trying to reduce our overall energy costs and energy spend. We think it aligns with the village's green goals as well. And then I think for us, as a municipality, with us doing the Monroe balancing test, it'll exempt us from zoning, but it also won't lead to there being a precedence for you all. So it won't be able to have a developer come in and say, well, there's a solar array over there that broke the height variance. You'll be able to say, well, it's the county, we don't have any control over that. So I understand, today you probably won't be able to vote, but my goal in coming here was to get a sense from the body whether there's a potential way for us to work together to get a letter like that written, so that we would be able to start construction this year.
Well, Terry, I've asked for just a template, like a template of such a letter that we could read.
And now asking for them for something like that, and they haven't developed something like that for us. So if they don't put something together, the county, I work with the county attorney to
Work with us. I would like to have our village attorney look through it and make sure we're not giving away the village for us.
Yeah, no, certainly, and I think it'll be fairly simple from my conversations with the deputy county attorney, where we'll likely just ask you to acknowledge and accept that the county has done the Monroe balancing test and is moving forward.
When will you do that balancing test?
Depending on how this meeting goes, though.
Oh, we do it, right?
No,
No, we do.
no, the intruding
Okay.
entity.
So the plan would be to pass it at our next legislative meeting, which is, we have one tomorrow night. Obviously, it wouldn't happen tomorrow night. It would happen at our mid-October meeting, which I believe is like the 21st.
When that happens, I would like to sit in on that meeting, but can we get a copy of the documentation related to that balancing?
Yep. Yeah, so we've had a preliminary conversation. I've turned over much of the materials to the county attorney. We're holding back on doing it at this point, because if I get a sense from you all that you're not willing to provide that letter, we'll likely scrap the project and go somewhere else.
Well, we can discuss that now. All your slides?
Yep, that's all.
Okay, thank you. Okay, discussions about the letter that would, for Cornell, that would allow the county to build the solar panel. Any concerns?
My only concern is, I think it's a terrific project. The only concern I have is I would like the letter to include the specific information about decommissioning, not just like a big promise. I want it to be part of the agreement. Because.
So I'll say Cornell has said that this is a requirement of us doing it. We don't have the language yet. That'll be part of a lease amendment that the county will do with Cornell outside of this process. And so I don't know what the exact language will be.
But like, for example, our solar law has a decommissioning clause. You can use that to start with.
Yeah, it'll likely be, I mean, because it'll be between Cornell and the county, it'll basically, the basis of it will just be that if the county were to leave the property for any reason, we would have to return the site to its previous condition. And it seems likely that they're going to be requiring us to either have an escrow account or a bond, although that's an ongoing discussion between the county and Cornell.
You're welcome to look at our law. We went through a lot of decommissioning discussions, and if it helps with the wording for yours,
No, I appreciate that.
Because that was the major issue.
It was a major issue, yeah.
This visibility, the other issues we had were visibility, and this is really not creating a visibility problem. And where it's located, I don't see any kind of like intrusion on the neighboring properties or any of the kind of concerns that we had when we put in the limitations for the solar law. They don't really apply here.
And I know there's some question, at least to me via email, about the ownership of the property technically being Cornell, and this is a ground lease, but in the research that I've conducted, it's the use, not necessarily ownership of the underlying property that dictates the Monroe balance.
That's our county attorney's consensus with that, because I understood that there was a question whether you can do the balancing test on the leased property. And
Yeah, so I found similar case also with telecommunications towers.
Yes.
So Cornell owns the land. Who actually owns the buildings?
I don't know who owns all the buildings. We own the
bank,
structure, the way our ground lease, I'm sorry, did you?
Doesn't the bank, doesn't Congress trust
Oh,
them?
I guess they did recently take possession of a bunch of it. They repossessed it from whoever had purchased it. Our particular facility, we own the building, we're able to make changes to the interior of the building, but the terms of the ground lease stipulate that we have to go to Cornell and get approval for any exterior changes to the building as well as the site itself. So that's part of the process that we're going through, where this was kind of revealed that we had to go and get a letter as well.
So in your summary, you mentioned, you know, we do have a process for the solar application and then the special permit and review. What would be the reason not to do that?
So that's what the Monroe balancing test is. So if there's a higher government that is seeking to put a non-conforming use on property the owner have purpose for, they're exempt from local zoning requirements. So that's what the Monroe balancing test will show, that they fit the criteria there. So they don't have to do the special permit. They don't have to abide by our zoning laws because they're a government entity.
How long has that law been around, the Monroe
Oh, well, let me
balancing test?
find that case citation, the thing I was just looking at here.
It's been around,
I think it was like 1970.
yeah,
I think Monroe County and the city of Rochester, they were arguing about the county airport.
1988.
Oh, well, you're faster than I.
Yeah, look, I've worked with government for a long time. I understand it's not a popular thing. It's just always been the county's policy to not seek permits or go through review. I mean, if you followed what the county is trying to do in the center of government that we're looking to build in the city of Ithaca, it won't go through the city review process. It won't go through permitting. The county just kind of does that, and that's something that the legislature kind of directs staff to do. It's not I will say that it's not a decision that staff undertakes. It's a directive from our county legislature.
any other discussion? I guess we'll just get a straw poll of how would you feel about, once we have the letter that will be submitted to the county and to Cornell, once the wording is worked out, we'll present the final letter to you for the final approval, but do you feel like we should go forward with this?
Yes,
Definitely.
absolutely.
Okay. Terry, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, just when you start putting the letter together, get us involved.
Yeah.
And copy us, and personally, I would like to receive information about the progress of this, if you don't mind sending it to the board.
Yeah,
They might be interested, but at least they would have it if they wanted to read it.
yeah, the letter or any of
Well, yeah, just anything like the meeting at the legislature and what's kind of going on, just the steps of the, all the way up to when you start doing the installation.
Yeah, so the plan right now is to, like I said, try and get the mineral balancing test completed so that we can get it on the agenda for the agendas are due on the 14th, the week before the meeting, so that'll be on the 21st, I believe, is the meeting of the legislature where they'll discuss the mineral balancing test and accept or approve it. From there, if everything goes well, we're able to get the letter submitted to Cornell. We're waiting on some final approvals from Cornell on the actual design guidelines. They have design guidelines for the tech park that we have to meet. Once we get their approval, our hope is to start construction early November. And possibly start putting in the post holes. Obviously, once it starts to get cold and the ground freezes, it becomes a lot harder to trench and to dig holes. So if we can get the superstructure in place, that'll allow us to install the panels later. The interconnection itself with the utility is somewhat at the discretion of NYSEG, so that might take a little bit longer. Our original hope was to have the system functional this year. Seems probably unlikely due to some of these delays that we've run into, so hopefully early next year we would have it able to proceed and be able to start delivering power to the grid and offsetting some of our bills. But I'll look to try and include some clause in the letter about the requirement that Cornell is asking for with the decommissioning. We'll start to put that together.
Okay.
Natalie, I don't know if you have a card or something. I'm happy to reach out to you with some of the languages I drafted with Holly Mosier, who's our deputy county attorney.
One other thought I just had while you were talking is that when it comes to the stormwater runoff from that, you might check with Mike Scott, because he has to monitor our stormwater systems
Yeah,
through MS4s. He has to do those annually.
yes,
We want to make sure that where Cornell and/or your engineers are directing the stormwater,
yeah,
it's not going to impact one of our stormwater catch basins or ponds.
Yeah.
And just so he might be able to come up with a better way
yeah,
possible. So
okay,
that's one thing
We'll
that could impact us.
yeah, we'll reach out and we'll have that discussion.
Okay, all right.
All right, thank you all, I appreciate your time tonight.
Thanks, Sarah. Okay, our next topic is to discuss the design guidelines. Carolyn?
Well, I didn't put this on the agenda. I saw it on the agenda. I do think that our design guidelines need to be updated, and there's two options. One is I reached out to Cornell, and perhaps their Design Connect team will be interested in taking on this project. The other is that someone leads a internal design guideline update based on the design guidelines that we have in place, which has, information about trees, it has some examples, but it's a big project. You have to think about, look at all the different towns around, what do we like, what do we not like? It's a plan document that needs to be updated. And yeah, so maybe you want to start a committee to do that, or maybe you want to see if Design Connect wants to do the project.
Like compensation.
No, they're just students.
Oh, wow.
It'd be a project for this.
Yeah, student projects.
What college is that in?
Pardon?
What college are they in?
I,
Cal's or architecture art and planning?
Planning?
well, I also spoke to architecture, so I know they're not in architecture. The guy's name was Michael, right? Because I told you guys last time I had spoken to him. Graduate program in historic preservation planning, Sibley Hall, architecture. Oh, it's architecture, art planning.
So it might be good to have a subgroup work with them,
Pardon?
just a subgroup from,
Well, if they take the project on, yeah, I do think they're gonna need guidance from us.
So we probably should have members.
Somebody from planning board.
Trustees
and
BCA.
Greenway.
So if you get a representative from each of those committees and/or boards, you should have a pretty good subgroup to start looking at the designs. Just get, I guess, people who are interested in that. See if you have any volunteers. So who would want to lead that subgroup?
Well, I personally have an agenda item, like, just, it's not an agenda item, but like, right now, I'm creating, I finished creating them a comprehensive plan, now I'm creating a master plan for trails and parks. So that's where my focus is gonna be, I'm gonna talk to you guys about that. That also might take a year plus to do, and some planning and some work. Not that I don't think design guidelines aren't equally important, because I actually do.
So what is the timeline with the class and the faculty?
When I'm gonna hear back from them, whether or not they're taking it, let me see what he said. Let me consult with the students. So he didn't, that was on September 11th.
Would it be a
could follow.
semester project or a year project for them?
I don't know.
The last one, it was a semester.
Okay.
It was like a spring semester. So
But
I certainly don't mind following up with him and saying, is this realistic to think that your class might do this in the future?
What's this guy's name? Rico?
So,
What do you want to call him? It's Michael A. Tomlin.
oh,
Doesn't ring a bell. I know some of the faculty over there.
Okay, I'm happy to reach out by email to him and say, how interested are you gonna be?
Yeah, I
and
think
I'd
that's,
be happy to work on on that with the faculty advisor, who I assume will be, it's part of a class, as opposed to an independent study type of thing. So when we get more information.
Usually the students have to do a project.
It's a project, yeah.
It's part of their degree, but it's not a class.
Because I know like environmental management had a faculty member and the students involved in a strategic planning exercise, and it was a whole, and they did a fabulous job.
The last thing we got from them, I thought, was not that useful, because it was not tethered to the ability of the village to, we don't create businesses, for example.
Yeah.
So I am really looking for a project that's gonna be tethered to what we can actually accomplish.
Right.
And if that's not something they were interested in, then it won't work out, we'll do it on our own. But I don't find it helpful to do like, yeah, let's put an ice skating rink. I 100% want an ice skating rink, but we're not building an ice skating
There
rink.
might be a group in engineering that would take this on too.
Could you reach out? Thanks.
There might be a couple, actually.
Okay, yeah.
And I guess when we get a little bit more information, when we start putting together, we're going to have a group of people that the students would interact with to get information. And that probably could be all of us. Many of us participated in the last one, as far as things we thought were interesting and things we didn't. But we could, at that point, poll the board members and our committee members to see if anyone's interested in participating and potentially leading that group, someone who's good at facilitating the group. But we won't, there's no point in making very many plans until we hear back from one of the groups is willing to help out, because we want to help them do their job, and we start getting requirements from us and what we need.
It might be late for this year.
Yeah, yeah.
Something we'd be looking at for fall or for August of.
Our group could start right now, though, thinking about what they want to see.
Yeah, I mean.
And even our current guidelines are terrific. I mean, they really have a lot in there already, except, biggest problem with them, they don't apply, because the zone no longer exists that they were created for, which is, well, it's commercial low traffic, but we're talking about the North Trip Hammer corridor, which is now commercial high traffic, so they don't apply. So that's a crucial update.
Are these available online? Because I searched the website pretty thoroughly and couldn't find them.
No, they're not.
Because they are referenced in the zoning code.
Right. The only one, there are two, commercial medium traffic and commercial high traffic. The commercial medium traffic apparently was approved. Commercial high traffic was never approved.
Commercial medium traffic references the commercial low traffic design.
No, I think this is the only one that was approved, is the low traffic.
The low traffic, but the zoning law, commercial medium traffic references the design guidelines for commercial low traffic as being applicable.
That's the only one that's been.
It's an appendix to the comprehensive plan, according to something that I wrote right on the top here. So I think that's how it was,
That's how it's on there.
yeah.
It's one place I didn't want.
Any further discussion? Okay. So the next topic is the Greenway Committee proposals.
So
Trails.
the Greenway Committee has a lot of ideas and momentum about how to reconfigure the parks in a master plan. Some things you don't want to do until you have your full master plan, but we're kind of pulling out some bits and pieces that we could do without our full master plan, because we already know that they're going to be concurrent. And so we have this proposed new trail, which I sent to you, which has a very big caveat, which is that it goes over this lot 9 on Coventry Walk. And so the Greenway Committee asked me to ask the trustees if we could proceed with contacting the homeowners and seeing about an easement.
Do we know who the homeowners are?
I haven't done anything except for, I wanted to see if that was something that the Board of Trustees was interested in doing. If you like this trail, which is, so when this master plan is done, it will have hopefully loops and then loops that connect. So the loops, even if it doesn't connect with a sidewalk, it'll connect with a proposed sidewalk or connect with a proposed future trail. You know, the master plan will have all of our parks connected, even if it's, you have to walk on the road here or what have you. But this loop already creates a lot of the connections that we know we're going to want to have. And it connects East Point, and it connects, it creates its own loop, which is very valuable. People love a 1 mile loop. And, you know, a lot of homeowners like trails in their yard because nobody uses it more than the people who are abutting it. So what I just wanted to hear from you guys, if you felt like it was acceptable to approach the homeowners to see if this would be of interest to them.
So from a homeowner's perspective, the question will come up, liability issue with the trail on the property. So that's just one thing to
So
consider.
address this with,
We did that.
yeah, so the Lansing Greenway Trails is all this. It's 100% this. So how did we address that? The answer is that, what is the answer, Natalie?
They are not liable for the use, but I can find the FAQ that I produced,
Yeah.
Carolyn, for it and recirculate.
We will have some of the homeowners' questions answered, because we've done it with regard to the creation of the Greenway stuff. I didn't think to bring that letter.
Right.
Maybe I have it.
The email and circulate it.
I think part of the easement agreement, it will be
An indemnification clause.
application from liability
Oh, I have right here.
standard.
I have it. What will I mean if I grant an easement? An easement is a legal right that allows one person or entity to use another person's land or property for a specific purpose without possessing it outright. An easement is generally a permanent grant of right that will run with the land, i.e. bind successive landowners. The most common types of easements you already be familiar with are utility easements. How will this impact my property value? There's no guarantee as to how the project will impact future property values. Historically, studies show that direct trail access increases property values from 3 to 5%. What kind of liability will I have for injuries? New York's recreational use statute, which is the General Obligations Law, section 9-103, limits liability of landowners who voluntarily allow access to their land for certain recreational activities, including hiking, biking, cycling, and cross-country skiing. However, it's important to note that the law does not protect landowners from liability for willful or malicious conduct, or if the landowner charges for entry or use of their land, but they won't be charging for entry. While the recreational use statute provides protection from liability, nothing can prevent a suit from being brought against a landowner, even if it turns out to be groundless. Fortunately, homeowners insurance usually provides coverage to an owner if someone is injured on the property, whether or not that person has permission to be there. We encourage you to speak with your legal counsel as to how an easement may impact you. Will I have any maintenance requirements? The trail will be maintained by the municipality. This is specifically with regard to the Greenway, but this would also be true here. So yeah, so we've kind of talked about some of these issues when we drafted this. We never sent this letter out for the proposed Greenway trails that might come through. But yeah, liability is going to be their first question. Property value is going to be their second question. And so that is definitely.
And the other issue that comes up is do they have a way of preventing people from jumping off the trail onto their properties? Some of them want
Screening.
a fence or a gate or something that.
So I haven't walked back there. I don't know, Ronnie, how far back have you walked on this towards their house? So Larry sort of walked the whole thing. With the Dryden Rail Trail, it's so long that there was just no ability to put in any kind of shrubbery, or it was just, no, we can't. With this, it's so small that maybe there could be a shrub or two planted by the village, but we're so getting up far ahead of stuff. I just want to, I don't even know their names.
Yeah.
You know, so I just want to find other names, if it's okay with you guys.
Is it
I
this
believe-
lot 9?
No, it's the one up at the top, it's up in the corner. I believe
them?
that is Dr.
Thank you for printing this nice big copy.
Sure.
I know the couple.
Where do we want it?
Do you want to
Up
approach
here?
them, Ronnie?
can
You know,
get it online, but.
I don't mind approaching
show
them.
them that map.
Yeah, just say, we're looking at potential trail, would they be interested?
You have this letter, so you can answer some of the questions for them.
Yeah, I could, yeah, if you'll send that to me, I will have it. I will approach them. They're they travel a lot, so catching them at home, but I can at least leave a message and ask.
But I guess I'm jumping the gun a little bit, because I didn't ask you guys about how you feel about creating the trail. So if you look at, this is Marion Hartel Park. This apparently was a swimming pool that Audrey Edelman gave to the
It's
village.
backfilled.
That's been filled in, and this is village land.
Right.
So what I didn't ask you, but what I assumed you guys would be okay with, was creating a trail through our own property.
We had started looking at a trail that just went up basically to connect to the East Point Connector Trail.
Okay.
So this would just be a further extension of that.
People love a loop.
We would, my only concern is that's a fairly long trail, and we would have to be sure that we can pay for it. But
I have some information on that. That comes up part two.
Klepak, yes, Dr. Klepak, Dr.
Do you know them?
Yes, I do.
So do you want to?
Carolyn.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
And they'll be friendly. So can you?
When it comes to land, you never know.
Can you reach out? Okay,
Want that copy?
okay, so if you could reach out to them and share the map?
Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay.
I know that they're both good people, but I've never tried to cross their land.
Right. Well, it is nice, and it's just a small corner, and their house is here.
County Health,
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, they might be excited about it. Oh,
They
good.
might be, they might
Okay.
be.
Carol,
It's hard to ask, but I think of all the residents within that circle, they're the most likely to say yes. So,
Okay,
but I'm not going to promise.
no, definitely not.
But I will contact them.
Okay. So with regard to Kathleen's topic of the CSE grant, and we can get to that in a second, I called Jerry today, and I pitched him a couple of our Greenway things to see what he would be willing to fund with the CSE grant. And maybe you have other ideas for it, but,
Actually, the
sorry, it's not called the,
Energy Community
sorry,
Fund, not the CS.
Clean Energy Communities.
So that's,
Clean Energy Communities Fund.
That was the-
CECF. Okay, so with the CECF money, I asked Jerry about what we could do with regard to the Greenway. The Greenway Committee has kind of figured out their general plans for parks on, like, we need to do the master plan, but, we've been struggling with what kind of, like, structure we should put in Shannon Park for a while, and instead, the Greenway Committee wants to create a pollinator garden there and not do a structure at all. And Jerry said that was a fundable project, which is amazing. And then I told him about this loop, and he said that was a fundable project, which is amazing. And I also asked him, the Greenway Committee also wants to create, when we create our parks maps, redo our mowing patterns and reduce them. And he said that was not a fundable project. So he said no to the mowing, the mowing mapping, but yes to these other two. So we can talk about that. So should I just launch into the Greenway stuff?
Hang on. So I want to make sure that we're all on board for this trail before we go too far.
Okay.
We're all on board. Do we see any problems with the trail beyond the normal logistical stuff that's going to come along? Is the idea at least attractive?
Yes.
I think a comprehensive trail system is definitely attractive that interconnects.
Yeah.
And-
As long as it's not a burden in terms of maintenance and dollars.
We'll have to be sure and make sure that John and his crew can still,
We can share this map and have the same conversation
Yeah.
with him.
just say, this is what we're planning, what are your ideas about as far as workload? Because I don't think we de-ice those trails, but I think we do snowplow the
Right,
trails.
okay.
I mean,
And
there's a
then mowing.
cost, there's a cost.
It would be adding, well, we're not adding 1 mile of trails, but this is a 1 mile loop, so it looks like we'd be adding, if this is the green, it looks like about half a mile.
Half a mile. Okay, yeah, well, but it's just part of the conversation.
Definitely.
It be
The
involved.
only thing we're hoping for tonight is that we want to agree to talk to the homeowner, which I think sounds like we do.
I'll be glad to do that and come back with a
Okay.
way, or, yeah, but they're gonna have questions, and I'll
Okay.
find out,
Okay,
I'll find out.
okay. So,
Okay, so we'll proceed that, then I will contact the property owners, and Carolyn, anything you need to do, it's probably too early to get John involved, but at some point we will.
yeah,
Until we,
yeah,
okay.
okay.
He may have an idea about the path, because it looks like there's an intermittent stream, so that's going to require that part of the path has a culvert. Just,
On the Lansing land?
yeah, the Lansing land just west
Oh,
of
right here.
the easement,
Yeah,
so that might require a culvert.
okay.
It may not be a big culvert.
Or we could just swing it,
Well, that's what I'm saying, is maybe
Yeah.
John could reconfigure
Yeah.
the path and save us
Yeah.
some money. Okay,
I think they pushed it out as far as possible to make it as long as possible, so it would be a mile.
I think that's good. I think it meets our long-term goals that we've had for quite some time, so thank you.
Okay.
Okay,
So along with that idea of tackling some of the Greenway Committee's goals that we know are going to be part of the master plan, but now they're just piecemeal, is the Blackchin Overlook Park is completely overgrown, the trees, so there is no overlook. And so I asked Lynn she has some people to get a quote on costs of doing some topping of trees or possibly tree removal on village land to improve the overlook. So there's no money asked yet, but that is, to rehabilitate that park, that's what we want to do. Mowing patterns, so I've already just talked about this briefly, but we want to reduce the mowing almost immediately in the spring, and we might have, a meeting, we want to talk to John and talk about the back end of Ned Hickey Park, like how far back we mow, and maybe some areas in Marion Hartel Park that maybe we don't need to be just mowing to fields. So that's a conversation that, if you guys are okay with, we want to have with John and before the next mowing season.
see if I understand, we want to increase mowing at Ned Hickey?
Decrease.
Decrease, okay, decrease mowing. Oh, yeah, that's fine. I mean, if we ever have a future use for that area, we could mow it at that point and then do the construction. So,
Okay,
as long as I don't see any,
That field doesn't get used very much.
yeah, and my only concern would be health considerations, as it does attract wildlife, vermin, et cetera, but,
But we have it anyways.
yeah, you have it. Yeah, if you mow that part, they just move over, and so, but, yeah, I think that those are both fine.
Or create a pollinator.
we can do 2 pollinator gardens. Another long-term plan of the Greenway Committee, which Jerry approved for payment, is trees. The Greenway Committee would like to add trees to Marion Health Park. In particular, they would like to do 3 dedication trees, one for Anne, one for Don, and I don't remember who the third one was for. Who would the third one have been for? But there were 3.
And Furry,
Prior,
Anne,
Don Hartill.
Don,
and the prior village attorney.
was that who it was?
David?
Oh,
I don't,
Dubow.
maybe, but anyway, dedication trees, if that is something that I also wanted to talk to you about with regard to the grant, because Jerry also said that would be approved.
The trees with the plaque,
The plaque we would have to pay with.
Ours.
Yes, correct. So, but if we could get nicer trees, they could already be, we don't have to buy, but also, with all tree planting, deer protection.
Oh, yeah.
So seriously protected, larger trees dedicated, 3 dedication trees.
Will that funding pay for the insurance on the tree, or just the tree? And we would assume the cost for the insurance for the additional time.
I didn't ask Jerry that, if they would be willing to.
Probably,
I just titled it like a tree planting project, which he said that was acceptable use for the money.
Okay.
So trees. So before I spoke to Jerry, I was thinking that maybe we could use the beautification grant that we got the bulbs for to create pollinator gardens. But now I think we should try to, if, I personally would be in favor of using the CECF grant to create pollinator gardens, because he said that would be an approved use. But with the caveat that I would have to, let me read what he wrote. There's a caveat of, you can use the funding to create a trail or pollinator garden. However, task force or trustees would have to write a short justification for it in a resolution and discuss why that project is funded. The big thing here is we need to estimate carbon sequestered for new plantings for a pollinator garden, or estimate how greenhouse gas might be reduced if there's a trail to show sustainability. So if we use the money to build the trail from Marion Hartel to East Point, I kind of already have that data because Kathleen and I did it for the other grant. If we use it for the pollinator garden, we'd have to come up with new numbers, but I would be willing to do that.
Yeah, that's information, certainly.
It's not that easy to figure out. How a pollinator garden reduces greenhouse gases, you have to use certain reports and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Actually,
So
Cornell Cooperative Extension.
they were very helpful.
Is great for helping with research and guidance that way.
And he actually didn't say no to the mowing. He said it's not allowable unless it involves community input and an education campaign. But since we have these other potential projects, doing an education campaign is a lot of work, so I thought one of the projects that don't require that would be preferable, especially because both of these are $5,000 easily.
When do we have to apply for the grant?
We already have the
There's
grant.
two different things. There are projects you can apply for that are eligible projects. That is different than the fund we currently have
That's
for
my
the two
confusion.
awards.
Right.
That is for reducing energy and greenhouse gases.
Well, I thought these were already awarded. I just have to prove that they reduce energy and greenhouse gases, and then we can use the $5,000 that we've already been awarded for either of these two projects.
Yeah, I mean, there is a difference, that's all. So there's the clean energy, and then there's the climate smart.
These are clean energy.
There are projects you can apply for that the village would be eligible to apply for versus what you can use the template I showed you.
CEC, I'm trying to use the CEC grant money
Okay,
that we already have, so we don't have to apply, we just need to have an eligible project.
Right.
And
right.
these are eligible.
An eligible project or, right.
Right, so I was hoping that some of the Greenway initiatives could become eligible projects, and it found out that 2 out of 3 could.
And bike racks in your parks or government property would also be an
Yep.
eligible.
And tree planting,
Greenhouse gases, alternative transportation. So there were a slew of things.
yes. So if you guys are supportive of going forward with, I don't know, I'd start with the pollinator garden, and then, just because we need to talk to people about the trails and do the trees, I would start with those two.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it's a good idea. So we'll be using the 2 $5,000 grants we've already received
Right.
and have available for the appropriate grants, trees or whatever we decide we want to use it for. But then we do have to document what we did and why as part of that.
And pass
And you
resolution.
just said, I'm just restating it, so I make sure that I understand it all.
And you know that we don't have that money right now.
Right, we have to get it from them.
Because that was a question about your newsletter. You said, we have this money in our fund. I'm like, no, we,
Well, it's in the Clean Energy
Yeah.
Fund because it was
not in
awarded
ours,
to the
though,
village.
because we don't have it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. We have to move it out of the fund.
It'd have to be
Yes.
moved.
Yeah,
for the
that's just a matter of.
Right, so the project has to be approved before the money moves.
Yeah, you need a resolution,
Okay.
et cetera. Yeah,
Because we haven't got the money.
no, you don't.
Okay. All right. I can wait that.
So do you want to think about at our next meeting, passing a resolution to do the tree planting and the pollinator garden? And I will, the trees I know is, I don't have to prove anything. I will do a write-up about how the pollinator garden will reduce our greenhouse gases.
do we have projected costs? And have we talked to,
Well, what I was thinking is that the cost was gonna be $5,000. Because I was thinking I was thinking of approaching the plantsman and asking them to do a $5,000 pollinator garden proposal. And that's a lot of money for a garden. We could do both parks. We could do Ned Hickey and Shannon Park for $5,000. It's a lot of money.
If you say so, I
Oh,
don't,
you don't think so?
I have no idea.
So you want to put a pollinator garden in Shannon Park, too?
They want to, they just was thinking, like, we can't figure out the right structure because there is no structure, but they wanted to bring in an interest item to draw people into the park. They also want stairs and, actually, that's it. And maybe moving the bench. But they wanted an interest item. There's a big park plan. The park plan is going to be like focusing Ned Hickey on like an older kid recreation area and a Global Village on a younger kid recreation area. I don't know that we have a concrete plan for Ned Hickey really, but Shannon Park was going to be more towards nature. And then Marion Hardtail, well, we also talked about pickleball. We have big ideas. We have a lot of big ideas. They're not all fleshed out yet. But the pollinator one was, I thought, terrific because it brings that interest in and we can do a grant for it.
There might be a minimum size so that the pollinator garden was effective.
Do you want me to, I would also be happy to reach out right now to the plantsman and ask them if they would come out, because people do estimates. Estimates are all the time. So I could just get an estimate from them.
Right.
And say, if we put a pollinator garden here and here, how much what can you do for us?
Yeah.
So let me do that too.
Remember, if it's over so much, you have
Me
to.
too. Yeah, so I can
Yeah.
ask Kaiko Landscape also. What were you gonna say?
and I wouldn't offer them the maximum amount,
Okay,
you know.
should I say 3,000?
Pardon me?
Say 3,000?
I would say what you want and let them come up with a dollar.
Yeah,
Just say what we.
This space,
Pollinator garden, what's an appropriate pollinator garden for Shannon Park? What's an appropriate pollinator garden for this big space at Ned Hickey? How much would those cost? Could we get a package deal, or would they have to be charged independent?
Okay.
That's,
I will reach out to both of them and ask them if they want to do estimates. That would be fun for me.
and you can frame it as, you can have blanking. If you have an area where you could have a rain garden also.
Okay, I didn't even think of that.
It could be like a pilot project, a
have
demo.
to have rain. I'd like to have rain.
We get a lot tomorrow.
Well, to sequester, yeah.
Okay. There's more greenway. The last greenway issue is the bulbs. So, do we need a resolution for this, maybe? So I got the final bill today. I told them, $1,500, and it is, sorry, I didn't have it printed out. Let me scan it down real quick. Oh, here it is. Okay, so we have to pay a tariff, you guys. It would have been $1,500 without the tariff. It's $107.25 tariff. So it's $1,537.25. So it's 1537.25.
Need to send me that invoice.
Okay, I'm gonna send this to you right now.
And for how many bulbs?
6 cases.
How many are in case?
I can't remember how many were in the
Couple
cases last
thousand.
year.
This is less than last year, for sure.
No, yeah, it definitely is.
Do we need a resolution to pay this, or?
You'd need a
There's money already
resolution
in
to
the
approve
beautification line
it.
item.
Okay, so no? Okay.
If we're going over budget, we would have to.
Okay, so that, those will come before the 20th of October, and they'll be planted around, on or before the 21st-ish, I guess.
And where?
Oh, so the Greenway Committee, so I don't know yet exactly. So I also asked the Greenway Committee this, because what happened was, he said, William Miller, the planter, said he didn't want to drive to Four Parks, because that is the slow link in the train. So I called John Courtney, and I said to John, can I offer that we'll drive the tractor? And then John said, why don't we just go pick up the tractor with our truck? And so I offered him both those things. I said, either we can pick up the tractor and drive it around for you, or we can be the driver, because we have commercial licenses. And he did not reply. Assuming that that's the case, and he's gonna drive the tractor, he said we had to limit it to 2 parks. So I emailed the Greenway Committee and said, I need you to decide where you want to plant it. We could start the pollinator garden at Shannon Park with these plants, and also maybe we could do Phil Dankert, because it's the most visible park. Hundreds of people drive past that every day. And everybody wrote back in agreement. So if there's only 2 parks, then there'll be those 2, and if it's not, then hopefully we can do more parks if we have to get William Miller to agree, because he's doing us this favor of the planting. And I guess it was too time consuming last year to drive from park to park.
Yeah, it was.
But I'm still working on that, is the answer. Hopefully more places, but possibly 2 places. And they're hyacinths this year, so it should, they're hyacinths.
Oh,
So it should complement the last year's planting, like we'll go a little bit in front.
so how many were done last?
10,000 bulbs, I believe.
Was it 10,000?
This says-
At all of the parks, right?
And we did, well, no, we didn't do Black Chin.
Yeah, we didn't do Black Chin.
Oh, well, yeah, no, but I mean,
Oh, 250 times 8. Sorry, it's 250 times 8. 250 times 8. So it's 2,000. Last year we did 10,000,
Thought so.
so it's a lot less.
but it will complement what's there, and
Yeah, I think it'll be great.
Yeah.
Greenway. Okay.
Is that everything, Carol?
For Greenway, yeah.
Okay. And the next topic of discussion is the request for the Clean Energy Project's template and process for Kathy Ann. Kathy Ann.
yeah, I asked you to look at it just to get kind of a straw vote from you, just feedback. This is from Jerry. And so you can use the Clean Energy Fund, I don't even know what it is. Clean Energy Fund for energy reduction, efficiency, and greenhouse gas efforts, and, you know, there were a bunch of suggestions. And you could do half and half. You could also put out a request for proposals from the community and get the community more involved in what they felt would be good projects, and you might get some really good creative ideas. So just something to think about.
Is there a deadline for the money that we've already been? And there's an additional grant that we can also apply for that's not the money we've been awarded?
There are additional grants, who knows what the funding situation's going to be.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Okay, so we should focus on finding the right project for these 2 5,000s.
And, you know, what would be really good projects or ideas for using it, since there isn't a deadline on the use.
I mean, the whole loop over here would take a long time, but just developing the connection to East Point would not, because that's all village land. Wouldn't take as long to figure out. We could start asking John now, just this portion of it, what it would cost? I mean, if that's of interest. I think that'd be nice for East Lake, they can get to Marion Hartel on the trail. I said East Lake, it's East Point,
There's a
sorry.
little cut through there, but it's going
Right.
through the apartments, and it's not, I mean, it's going right by somebody's window,
Right, it would,
not back there, yeah.
Yeah.
Because people have made a path.
right. So we could, I have no idea how much a trail, does anyone have any idea how much
And there are
short trail costs?
extra benches
Yeah, out back.
that,
We have benches.
we could decide where to put as well. I mean, this is a separate,
Yeah.
this is a tangent, I'm off on a tangent again. But incorporate those benches into your planning, and then also, do you want bike racks?
I do want bike racks. My only hesitation is, it's very tricky, because one of the real reasons I want this master plan is because I want everything thought out, and I would hate to do the bike racks and then be like, oh, we wanted the bike racks here, not here, because I do think we've already made some mistakes with our parks. There was some discussion about how the parking was done, like apparently it's better to not pull out into a road the way we have it, so like parallel versus pull in, and, so I feel like we've already made some strategic mistakes, and I just hate to do any more. But I guess bike racks are easy enough to move. It wouldn't be terrible. I'm not opposed.
The thought, just to get.
I will bring that up with the.
Just to get a proposal for the cost for it, so that it's something to think about.
How do we get a proposal for the cost of the bike racks?
Jody?
Ask John to look through his
Ask
catalogs
John.
and pull out the price.
There you go.
You might also consider consulting with a couple of the local bicycling groups to see if they have any kind of resources about where and how to put up bike racks. Sometimes they have it, sometimes, or they might.
I'd be super excited if we could just build this little portion of the trail,
Yeah.
just from here to here with that $5,000. Just make this into a real trail, put a bench,
And John will be able to give you
yeah,
an estimate,
all right.
as he sees that.
So I can call him tomorrow, ask him to look at this map. And hopefully we can do the whole loop if Ronnie's successful with.
And then the whole tree planting, and then is there sort of a plan for that?
No, everything was, I wanted to ask you guys if you wanted me to do this, so we want to do the dedication, the tree dedication trees, which would go at Marion Hartel.
So if you couple that in with your, it provides shade, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So it
I don't think I even have to convince them on the trees, I think that just is already on the approved list,
is, yeah.
so I don't have to write anything up. For the pollinator garden, I have to write
Oh,
something.
you'd still need resolutions for everything. Yeah.
Just-
What do people like better or worse, or not like of these ideas? Just like them all.
Like the pollinator
You like
gardens.
that one?
I couldn't hear, I'm sorry.
I like the pollinator gardens.
Ah,
Are you talking about ideas for use of the money, the CEC money, or any of the ideas?
What people prefer to try to use it for?
Yeah, definitely, I'm a big fan of trees, and I think pollinator gardens are good too. This is an aside, but our property owner planted a climbing vine that we didn't realize until this year, actually last year, that they flower, and they flower late in the season, and we had honeybees all over those, so it was really nice. The pollinator gardens are great. I like those in the trees. For Marion Hartel, I noticed that a couple of our trees that were installed last year may not be doing so well, though. So your topic about the insurance for the trees is pertinent. I would want to make sure that if we're spending a lot of money for more mature trees, that they basically survive long enough.
I know that you get a 1 year, if you buy it from Geek Landscape. I don't know about,
Automatic.
if they plant it for you, then it comes with 1 year.
Yeah,
Probably
Yeah,
Plantsman's
they
probably
plant
the
it,
same.
Probably.
Well, we would want them to plant, because we're gonna use the grant money. What was I just gonna look up?
and they recommend the fall planting being a little better, a little less stressful.
I don't think we're gonna be ready.
So, I mean, I like the trees and the pollinator garden both. I also like the bike racks.
I'll mention the bike racks to John, too. Ask him to give me prices for this portion of the trail for bike racks. And then I'll ask Plantsman and K Landscape for pollinator garden prices.
All right, and I think that the,
Trees.
I'm sorry, I thought you were there. I think that the bike racks will have to be treated like the benches. They will have to be put onto a poured concrete slab. So there'll be a little bit of cost related to that to get the actual bike rack installed so that it's not picked up and carried off somewhere and sold for scrap metal. So that's a little bit of the cost too, but John can include that in his cost as a separate item. Back to the request for clean energy projects, this template, do we want to do anything with this? Do we want to open up a way for our residents to send us ideas for projects related to clean energy? The 4 bullet items within the template, do we want to do that?
Well, we could put it on the website and call attention
Right,
to the fact that it's there,
right,
see what response we get.
yeah. So we would.
It doesn't hurt to get additional ideas and input and involvement from the community.
Who would you like to have as the contact?
Let's see. They could contact the village office, and then Jody would just, the Climate Smart Communities.
Who's the chair of the Climate Smart?
Me.
Then they should contact you.
Yep.
But they can leave a message with the village office, too.
Just give them, put our email down.
Yeah.
Your email.
Okay.
Yeah, give them the Village of Lansing,
Yeah,
New York.
The Lansing one.
Yeah.
The third person for the tree was Marion. It was Marion. The third person for the tree, 3 trees, was Marion, Dawn, and Ann Fury. For the dedication trees that the Greenway Committee wanted, I couldn't remember who the third tree was for.
Okay. Yeah, this form won't need an address. They don't need to know. They know where our village office is, but so we would, the contact information would be Kathleen, sorry. Do you want to give them your phone number or just prefer email?
No, phone number's fine, but they have to leave a message, and so we'd have to fill that in, because we have an old-fashioned answering machine. You have to talk.
Okay, I'm just making notes here.
I mean, there's no reason, I can check my folder and get the messages from the office, so they can contact the office, just like for other things.
You have a folder in the office? I mean, you mean the folder back here? Or you just mean like a paper copy of?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I see. All right. Okay, all right. Well, we'll work out
They can also just drop it in the mail slot, too.
right. Well, in that case, they would need a street address, wouldn't they? Or they could just mail it here. Yeah. Okay, we'll use the
Drop it off in the drop box.
office address. Yeah, that's a better idea. Okay.
So we can just put the form on the website.
Yeah, the form, I would need
We'll need to clean that up.
I need an outline of the.
Yeah, I just wanted to get a feel from you, and then I can clean that up and
Yeah. We can
give it to you.
use this as the announcement, once we fill out
Right.
the details that are highlighted here, and then point to the form.
Right.
The form connected.
And Ashley, well, I'll get to that later. Ashley will be coming to the October 30th meeting.
Ashley represents.
Okay. Well, I'll wait, I'm out of order.
Sorry.
The next topic is signature cards. Jody, do you have signature cards for us?
I do have the signature cards. We have to decide so in the past, the whole board has been on the signature card. So we have to decide if we want to do that, or if you just want me and the mayor and deputy mayor. But anyways, everyone would have to fill out their information and give me a color copy of your driver's license.
Signature card for,
The bank accounts, to be able to sign checks.
I would think the mayor and deputy mayor.
And Jody.
Clerk.
And me, yeah.
There's plenty.
Nobody else needs to be able to
Well-
sign checks.
So we should probably do a resolution stating that.
Okay, I will move a resolution that we create 3 signature cards for the Village of Lansing, one for our clerk, Jody Dake, one for the deputy mayor, Carolyn Greenwald, and one for the mayor, Ronnie Hardaway.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Is that form available online, Jody? Or is
Nope, I have them right here.
it paper? Yes. I will fill it out and bring it in when it's done with a color copy. Signer 1 and signer 2, we just do,
Well, I mean, that's
What?
so that we could all be on one page, but if you're all taking them with you, you could do that. And then when you bring it back, I'll add to one of yours.
Do you want me to fill out number 2?
No, it's, there, I'd hand them all in.
Yeah, it
You could
doesn't-
just
it
start at the top.
just start at the top. Okay. All right, so the next is general discussion. We'll go around the table. Kathleen, we'll let you start since you kind of already started.
Okay, let's see. My brain turns off. So, let's see. Cuba Lake Watershed Intermunicipal Organization, September 24th, 7 PM meeting. Beth Gillis, and I gave Jody a copy, and I'll send a digital. Beth Gillis, Executive Director for Lake Champlain, Lake George Regional Planning Board, provided information on the development of the Lake Champlain Implementation Plan and the status. The next meeting is going to be October 22, 3 to 5 PM in person at Bolton Point to get tour and additional information on the Drinking Water Source Protection Plan, which is actually a broader plan than some of the others because it includes the lake source, which is Cuba Lake. Climate Smart Communities Task Force, October 2, 1 to 2 PM. That was just a working group meeting to follow up on previous discussions regarding outreach, communication, eligible uses for the 2 awards we just talked about available in the Clean Energy Fund. Projects that would decrease energy use and greenhouse gas emissions, and/or a community request for proposals. And you all got the template. It's just a template example. Then the next meeting, the next meeting is October 30th, 1 to 2 PM here at the village office. And Ashley will be coming from Bingham, Ashley Seafried, Director of Sustainability, Southern Tier 8 Regional Board, and the new advisor for the Climate Smart Communities, along with Jerry from Cornell Cooperative Extension, Tompkins County, will be driving down from Binghamton to attend the meeting in person to help go through potential next steps. And then Town of Lansing Conservation Advisory Council met October 1st. So these are all meetings I attend. 6:30 PM, and Ashley did attend in person to meet with their council. Ed DeBobe is the chair of that group, and they also function as a task force, a Climate Smart Community Task Force. So she met with them to discuss potential action items the town may have already completed that could count toward certification, as well as what they wanted to focus on. And Ed also provided an update on the meeting with the Town of Ithaca Conservation Board and the group's direction for 2026. There was discussion on that because they wanted to get some more information on a council versus a board. There are issues of capacity and training resources, all of that. Meetings are always held the first Wednesday of the month at the town.
I couldn't hear that.
The meetings are always held the first Wednesday of the month, 6:30 at the Town of Lansing office. The next one will actually be in the library because of the budget meetings that are going on. And then Tompkins County Environmental Management Council, September 11th, is a presentation dealing with biosolids and the forever chemicals, the PFAS. And Claire Walsh-Winsler, Director of Food, Agriculture, and Land Use Policy, Environmental Advocates New York, was one of the presenters. And then in the interim, the Biosolids Working Group has been meeting with area experts from different disciplines on that. So our next meeting is actually October 9th at 4 o'clock. Tompkins County Water Resource Council, Lynn is on that board as a non-voting associate member. And the presentation was Lydia Brinkley, and she's the riparian buffer coordinator up at Susquehanna Coalition. And she gave a presentation and information on riparian buffers, buffer restoration, reforestation efforts that the coalition's been involved in, and case study examples. That's it.
Thank you. Susan?
Oh,
No, go ahead.
you're going to talk about Tompkins County Council of Governments, right? The resolution.
No, you go ahead.
So the Tompkins County Council of Governments did pass a resolution.
Regarding,
Biosolid. And,
okay. Okay.
and in support of state legislation dealing with a moratorium. Basically land spreading the Class A and Class B.
Okay. Youth Services Board met, and they're waiting for, just funding decisions by the county. And there was a presentation by the the building, anyway, maybe it's after 9 o'clock, maybe we're all
My
suffering.
brain does not work after 9.
Youth Services Board met, and there was a presentation. I think, what is the,
Is the youth role?
yes, oh, thank you, the nice building down there, yes, about their services. And what they did point out, that there was a lot more need for the one-on-one support for the youth, as a result of, who knows, lots of reasons. And schools don't have the resources, to do the one-on-one, the 504s and the IEPs, there's just no support for that. So that was, of course, I know that, but for them to actually be talking about it. And I am having a coffee date with Katie Shanks Booth, just to, see how we can support her programs and understand what's going on, because it's sort of under the radar. I mean,
That is.
unless we know what we're seeing when we walk Stewart Park, or when we walk the mall, or, we can not be aware of the need there is in the community and how that translates into support and dollars. So that was a good meeting, other than they're replacing staff and how to fill vacancies. And
Yeah,
as time
Teresa
goes on.
Alvarez is correct. She's been like a
30
stalwart
years.
supporter and
Yeah.
staff within that, yeah.
Yeah, so,
She's earned it, but she's certainly going to be missed.
yes, so. And then Bolton Point, the budget meeting and the commissioner meeting meets this week. So nothing more.
It's a lot.
Thanks, Susan. Carolyn?
So Patrick, Jody and I went to NICOM, and as per every time, I come home with bursting with ideas and things. Starting with the small, I went to the open meetings law presentation, and Natalie, have you looked at it?
No, I'm not yet.
Okay, so at the presentation, they said very clearly that once you have a quorum in the room, anybody online can vote. They do not have to be here to vote. The quorum is established here, and then, or if you're in your house in Boca Raton, you can notice that and be part of the quorum. So as long as you notice the two locations, all those people can make up the quorum. And once there is a quorum, any of the video conferencing people can vote, even if they're just, didn't feel like driving on a Tuesday. Doesn't matter the reason. This is what, so that, it's different than what Natalie thought.
I recall the intent of that law. I thought specifically there was language about only wanting it in exigent circumstances to not encourage virtual attendance. But again, I'll double check it. I haven't had an opportunity yet.
Yeah, that's a 180 on that decision, if that's,
Yeah,
if they
and
changed it, but.
they just extended the law in the budget. They didn't change the terms of it. So, but I will contact.
I think that would be nice.
Yeah, we can find out.
Because we do want people to be able to participate and vote. If, it doesn't have to be like they broke their leg.
Yeah.
It has to be like they just couldn't make it, but it's not a dire crisis. So somewhere in between those two things, like, no, I didn't feel like coming, but not, I have a, so anyway, okay.
Please confirm that.
Yeah, so hopefully we can be a little bit more inclusive in our online participation.
If that's the case, and we do confirm it, we'll need to change our policies and procedures.
Correct, yeah, okay, so that's a small thing. So Patrick and I met, one of my objectives before I left was to find ways that we can revitalize property eyesores, which obviously everyone here cares about, along the Trip Hammer corridor. And Patrick and I met with the Department of State, Department of Buildings, and they were very, they thought that we should be more aggressively pursuing violations on areas such as this. They were saying that Mike Scott should be standing on the sidewalk on any, unoccupied building that is looking disheveled and write down a host of violations and write a code violation with a 10-day cure. And we should think about, as a board, putting, even increasing our code penalties. But we don't have to do that tonight, but I do think that we should increase our code penalties, because as Natalie pointed out, we're gonna send all these violation letters and not much is gonna happen until a judge makes it happen. But there are some people who will receive a code violation letter and will just say, they're just the kind of citizen who will not ignore it. 50% might, and maybe businesses might, but a lot of people won't. So what I was hoping to get from all of you today is support for the idea that we are going to be a little more aggressive than we have been. Like, for example, we have standing violations for the graffiti, which Mike's already issued letters 1 and 2. I'd like, when he issues letter 3, that we go to court with a summons. That's one thing. And then the second thing I'd like support for is all the properties that are abandoned right now, that Mike's issuing violation letters for everything that's unsightly. Like, we're not waiting till it's graffiti in 7 years. Like, we're doing it now for Friendlies and for Trip Hotel at a minimum tomorrow, getting those violations out. And now, as Ronnie pointed out, we have to decide how Mike uses his time. And I think this is how Mike should be using his time. I mean, I think today there's graffiti all over the bridge over Kega Heights Road. And I feel like the reason there's graffiti on the bridge on Kega Heights Road is because the Trip Hammer corridor ugliness is spreading. I contacted John Courtney today and he said, I need to call the state, which I was a little disappointed. I was hoping he would just clean it off right then and there. Because the more days it lingers, but this is, what I would like for us to sort of collectively decide is like, wait, we've been a little bit too lax on this.
Is what?
We've been too lax. We let it get too far with the graffiti building. It should have never been a state where you wanted to graffiti it because it looked tidier. Do you know what I'm saying? So I'm hoping that after this discussion, Ronnie calls Mike tomorrow and says, we need to do violation letters for the other 2 properties as well. Do you guys think that that's a good idea?
I think violation letters are definitely in order for the ones that have been ongoing, the old restaurant and
Trip Hotel.
Trip Hotel, and yeah, definitely.
So we took, before I had a chance to talk to you guys, we took the friendly approach. I asked Mike, because Mike used to work for the owners of the Trip Hotel, to reach out just on a friendly basis, say, hey, what are your plans? Can you let us know what's happening? And they did not bother to reply. So I think now we tried the friendly approach. I think it's time, I would like Ronnie to ask him to write a violation letter tomorrow for the Trip Hotel, especially because it just got broken into. We have real concerns. So that's what I'm hoping that you guys want to agree to. And I think friendlies too. I think everything that's abandoned on North Trip Hammer Corridor, it should be our, not a policy, but just like our modus operandi, that we don't wait until they're covered into graffiti 7 years later. We are going out there with the violation letters if you're not maintaining your property to commercial standards. So you're nodding, so I hope you agree. So you want to talk to Mike tomorrow or this week, or?
I haven't heard from the board yet.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Then we need to be.
What have we done in the past when there have been code violations? I think just because it doesn't look nice and we think it's big property.
They have to be real code violations. It's,
Yeah, I mean-
they have to be, so they were telling us, like, if he can see parts of the roof are a problem, the windows,
Broken windows.
so there's a list.
I'm certainly happy to support a code violation.
Right.
But anything that.
The weeds are actually a violation, the graffiti is its own law, it's a total violation.
So,
The parking lot condition at Trip Hotel is a violation, every single one of those is a separate violation.
Is there just I'm wondering how much work, I think definitely Trip Hotel and the graffiti on the restaurant, those two locations have been longstanding eyesores, so clearly violation for those two. Is there a standard form where you can just check it off that with some
Mike writes
things for Mike?
To the
No,
outlining, I mean, he writes a fairly standardized form letter, but he has to go in and fill the various
Yeah,
issues out.
because I think both of these are familiar. They're not new, so.
One in
So
the
unsafe,
real piece is gonna be enforcement, and that to issue the summons, we have to, draft the summons and complaint, serve it on the property owner, go to court, and whatever that might entail. So it's gonna be resources expended that I want everyone to be on board for.
well, I
before
think
we
that's
put forth
what,
this type of policy,
that's
because
what
it's gonna be.
said. So those violations that somehow,
And
I have a
in
li- I have a
theory,
list.
That's what the fine is supposed to cover, but you don't know what the fine the judge is gonna give or not, right?
it's not so important to me that we collect a fine. These are all, these pages are all different. But mostly it's this one where he would be looking from the road, Mike would be looking from the road, and if he sees any of those things, it's a violation. It's not so, my goal here is not to collect $250 and pass go. My goal is to not have somebody hold on to a property in disrepair to the detriment of the village, because they're using us as a tax write-off.
Were there
That's my goal.
any other remedies suggested?
This is the way.
Is it?
This is the way. This is how you do it. That's why we wanted to meet with them.
so perhaps we make a list. Mike, I'm sure, has,
Well, he's already started on the graffiti building, right? I don't know that he's done an extensive, I would like for him, he's done 2 graffiti letters. His 3rd letter, I would like to be comprehensive violations. And for that building, I think that I would like the group to agree that we should do a summons. And this is money, spending Natalie money, because she's going to draft the summons. Because or else that building is setting the tone for the village, and that's why there's graffiti, spreading down dripping down the village. For Trip Hotel, I don't know, I at least want to start with an extensive violation letter. And see where that goes. So there's two different projects.
what I'm having trouble with is, what is the scope of Mike's responsibility in terms of, as his job, in being, identifying, I mean, it
So
certainly,
he has to stand on the curb and identify the violations that you see there, like any of those things, unsafe, this or that, and then he has to write them a letter.
Well, certainly that's part of his job. Am I wrong?
Yes.
So, yeah, he's already started it before, we didn't direct him to write
He
these
does
two
this
letters.
routinely.
He's already done it.
Oregon has been doing this.
Right, so he has already been doing it.
Right, but we're just gonna be more aggressive about not letting it come
We
to,
can let Mike know that he has the board's support.
Yeah.
And being more aggressive certainly is,
direction, I would say, yeah.
yeah.
I think that it's kind of been not a priority, we haven't said that it's a priority, but now I think we need to say it's a priority.
I describe to people what, talking about the Imperial Kitchen building. I don't tell them where it's at. I say, it's the building with the graffiti on it. And that's how they recognize it now.
That's so
'Cause
sad,
it looks awful.
yeah.
I mean, we did, it almost came to the point of summons with the mall, but eventually I attached those after we threatened litigation multiple times. So maybe knowing that a summons is coming will actually be persuasive. And at least with this building, I have a relationship with Eric's counsel where I could at least call him and try to persuade him.
Okay, so it's the third letter, and then you're gonna get a summons?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think
so I can
that,
call Jim in the morning.
excuse me. The issue I have in talking with Mike, these are the things that have happened in the past, is he will write a letter, it may go to the second letter, and he will say that they've done something. And Mike has to go confirm that that has been done. And if it hasn't, then that can trigger another letter. But it's not just the enforcement, it's the investigation associated with any work that's supposedly done by the property owners. Mike has to go make sure that that's really been done. And that consumes a lot of time. So that said, it's very possible when Mike cannot do it on his own, we will have to try to hire a part-time person or find another way of getting someone to go inspect. So just be aware that it's not just a matter of letters exchanging between two entities. There is at least at some point going to be a follow-up investigation to be had to make sure that things that were supposedly done are really done and not just, throwing paint over a crack and not really fixing the crack. So.
Mike does inspections all the time.
Yeah,
So, I mean, it's not,
he does do inspections, but,
Just because we don't know it,
Yeah.
I mean,
no, I agree, he does do inspections, but inspections on the property, thinking about Trip Hotel, if they say that they've done all of these things, he's got to go in and check all of those things to make sure they've done it done. So I agree that we probably should be more aggressive with this, but we need to monitor to make sure that we're not overwhelming Mike. Mike has to tell us if he's being overwhelmed. I don't want to lose staff to gain a pretty hotel. So let's just be aware of that. So.
So
Good.
Natalie, you're going to reach out informally to,
Yeah, I can reach out to Eric's counsel and just let him know.
That would
it's
be
a concern.
and then at the staff meeting, we can get Mike's input.
I've talked to him about it twice, and he likes to be doing what the trustees want him to be doing. So he wants, if the trustees want him to be pushing harder, then he wants to push harder. He just doesn't want to push harder unless the trustees tell him to push harder.
And he can recommend kind of maybe the best way forward from his perspective.
Yeah, it's going to vary from property to property.
Right, but I'm on specifically those two properties.
Luckily, we don't have a lot of properties that are in this shape.
So we have two.
We have, is it 300 Graham Road?
What's that?
The multi-residential units.
Oh, yeah.
That are,
Oh,
getting bought by somebody else.
they're basically standing up, and that's all they're doing. But I have have a concern, I've had a concern for years about that, just something, a fire or a collapse or something, but that's another one that's a possibility, but they do just enough to say they've been they passed the inspection, so. But yeah, it's, so we're talking Friendlies,
Well,
Imperial Kitchen, he's already on this, though. I'm just making it up so I don't forget anything. Trip Hotel, one of my favorite places. And any others? Did I miss one?
what's wrong with Friendlies?
It's abandoned. There's nothing there right
Just for
now.
him to go look to see
It's
if
just to
there's any
make sure that,
violations.
there's not any, it looks in okay shape, but if you don't keep it up, it's going to eventually be a graffiti target, as Carolyn said, just like the Imperial Kitchen. But anyway, so as we identify
There's
these,
also,
go ahead.
once he paints that, it's just gonna get graffitied again. I know that's not a reason to not do something, but to think that just because he paints it, it's not gonna get graffitied again.
Well, if he paints it, but also tidies the lawn and makes it look different in appearance, then, I mean, that's how you keep it away.
Where it looks maintained and not
Right.
abandoned.
Exactly, it needs to make it look maintained.
I'm just saying.
Maintain it.
I think it'll be a continuous problem.
Okay, well, let's do our best.
I will contact Mark and start the conversation, and if I'll just tell him that if he's got concerns, think about it and let us know at our Thursday staff meeting too.
Great, awesome.
I'll discuss that.
Super. And the next, well, I went to quite a few sessions, obviously, but the next session I wanted to discuss was I went to the ethics session, and at the ethics session, John Mancini talked about his favorite ethics code, which is the city of Cohoes. And I want to update our ethics policy based on some of the stuff that they have in that ethics policy. One of the things they talk a lot about is like the appearance of impropriety, and they talk, it's just a way, I looked at our exit policy and theirs, and that one is actually a little too comprehensive for our needs, but ours is a little, I think, a little bit older, and it doesn't hit all of the talking points that NICOM likes to see in their ethics policy. In general, what I would say about ethics is that disclose. So they proposed the question to the group of, how many people think if you have a short-term rental that you shouldn't vote on short-term rental laws? Because you have an economic interest, and maybe 50% of the class raised their hand or something, but he was like, but you all have an economic interest in every land decision that you guys make. You just disclose what your economic interest is, and you vote. So I thought that was very interesting, but for us, one of our economic interests is a lot of us have an economic interest in Cornell. And if we exclude people who with an economic interest in Cornell from our boards, we can't fill our boards. So all you do is you disclose. So a lot of disclosure about when you have an economic interest, anything about the appearance of impropriety, and just some other things. So I would propose that I send something to Natalie that I think would take our code and the city of Cohoes code, and we can talk about updating that section. There's some other policies that I went to. I went to the fund balance policy seminar. Turns out, if Jody, correct me if I'm wrong, but we don't actually currently have a fund balance policy. And I think that we should, and I think that what some of the policies that I'm going to suggest are going to help us do is transition staff. When we move from our very experienced staff to less experienced staff, the more policies we have in place, the better that transition is going to be. So I suggest after ethics that we create a fund balance policy. I have a sample, same again, which I have to admit I haven't looked at yet. I did look at the ethics one. And that after ethics, we add a fund balance policy. Next is spoils. I didn't know what spoils were, so I'm just going to tell you in case you don't know. But when you take a road and you cut it up, like the actual material that the road was, or if you cut down trees, it's the actual trees that you cut down, and they call it spoils. We do not have a written spoils policy, which I think that we should have. So after fund balance, I suggest we draft that. And do we have a vehicle use policy, Jody? So then next, I think, after that, we should have a vehicle use policy. And I'm not saying what it should or shouldn't say, but I think that we should add those policies. Some other policies that I thought, or just things that I thought, do we have a cell phone policy, Jody? Okay, we have that one. And do we have an internet and social media policy?
Yeah, kind of.
It's
The
not,
cyber,
yeah.
So I was gonna suggest that in connection with making our Facebook page and Instagram page, that we also have a policy.
Are we thinking about a Facebook page and an Instagram page?
Patrick's been talking about them for a long time. No?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Talk
I
about
don't remember any discussion. Well, maybe it was a meeting that I missed. Oh, sorry.
well, anyway,
That's fine. No,
I
no.
think it was the joint meeting.
do we
about
have
the
a credit card
comprehensive
use policy?
Hmm?
Do we have a credit card use policy? Okay, excellent. Fixed asset policy, excellent. Vehicle use, we already talked about. One thing I don't know that we need, but we could think about is an organizational chart for the staff and the board. We have one, okay. And then an onboarding of trustees, process and responsibility. Like when a new trustee or planning board member comes in, and this is actually another policy, or just like written instructions, like what are we gonna make sure we train them? And maybe it's a checklist, actually.
so I have a checklist of when people are hired, I give them, and they get the, Nikon handbook, that's the most comprehensive thing, that's a great training tool.
Okay, so I don't know if we want to take a look at that at some point this year, look at our new trustee onboarding and planning board actually too, procedures, and see if we want to take a look at them and see if there's anything we want to add. Or maybe we want to put that on a new meet, like a working meeting, and see if we want to review that at some point this year.
Meetings would be appropriate.
Sorry?
Any of our meetings.
And, yeah, okay.
That discussion.
And then, do we have written meeting procedures?
It's all part of Nikon that tells you exactly how you have to run, how you have to run your meeting.
Well, they suggested that we have written meeting procedures.
We have, we do, because we use Robert's rules, and we don't, and remember, every organizational meeting, we re-adopt them.
So
It's
we
all-
adopt Robert's rules, because they
don't-
specifically said that they do not, NICOM does not recommend Robert's rules.
Yes,
But they do recommend that you have your own written meeting
we
procedures.
do, and you
Okay, perfect. Okay, perfect.
organizational meeting.
Okay, excellent. Just double checking.
It's not a book, it's a page.
It's two, yeah, it's a couple pages long.
Yeah.
The last thing is, I went to the planning board meeting, so as we've already discussed, they are going through the uses and the definitions and the code changes, and then they also interviewed a potential planning board member, and I believe they made an offer, so I don't know if you were gonna talk about
I
that.
haven't heard.
Oh, you really?
formally Yet, no.
Well, Mike made a formal offer.
What? He just
Send
hasn't.
it to you and I did.
Oh, did you send it to them?
he said he sent a
I must have missed it.
For the
Actually sent
20th.
it
Oh,
twice.
that's right, that's right.
It wasn't for tonight.
20th, yes.
Okay, so,
All right.
and that's the planning board summary, and that's it.
Pat?
Yeah, so town had their meeting about 2 weeks ago. I guess, I haven't, lasted almost 3 hours. I didn't watch the whole thing. I just kind of got tidbits here and there. Biggest discussion was about the TerraWolf building up on where the Nice Lake Milliken Station used to be. It was an AI data center. I read through all the comments that were submitted. Most of them were in favor of their one-year moratorium. But from what I've heard talking to a couple residents, is that most of those people were not residents.
They were not
The
residents?
people that posted online comments were not residents of the town.
Okay, interesting.
So the people who attended the meeting, townspeople, are not in favor of the moratorium. They want the construction to go through, because it'll create jobs, it'll add to the tax base and everything, so.
Normally, data centers create about 10 jobs.
Pardon?
Data centers like that normally create 10 to 12 jobs. You have some,
They claim 100, they claim 100.
they would be
Maybe during the construction.
extremely
Oh, yeah, I told him,
out of the ballpark. Once they got once you've got a server farm up, it's just a matter of plugging and unplugging and monitoring, so it's usually 10 to 12 people. So,
That's what Terrible was claiming, 300 during construction, 100 permanent.
yeah, construction's about 6 months, and anyway.
So the board has not voted yet, they're gonna vote it on their next meeting.
Okay.
I did get finally I got a hold of somebody from the Joint Youth Commission.
Okay,
They sent me the schedule of the meetings, I've missed like 3 or 4 already.
okay. It's not your fault if you can't
No,
get.
right. So I guess the next meeting is next week, so I'll start attending.
Okay,
NICOM, I attended, most of the sessions I attended were website-related, cybersecurity, social media, because that was an interest of mine for this meeting. According to the state, there's a lot of bad stuff going on with cybersecurity, so we really need to make sure we are locked down, because they said the bad actors are constantly surfing to find vulnerabilities.
To that point, I discovered a company when I was first developing our WordPress site, because WordPress is open source, means that anyone can contribute to the code as long as it's tested and it's proper. But they're also very subject to being hacked. But there's a company that I found called WordFence, and I read good things about them, and I've used them ever since. And what they do is they constantly monitor our site. If there is any kind of attempted access to our site from known actors globally, they stop them before they get in. They also monitor anytime someone comes into our website and tries to use fake credentials to get in, and it fails, they lock them out 1 hour, 4 hour, 24 hour as stages. But they also report to me, which I can forward to anyone who wants to be on that mail. So I know that someone's tried, but I get a daily list of all of the international IP addresses that have tried to access our site. And amazingly, the vast majority of them are coming from within the United States. It's interesting, but the company has been very good. We have gone down, I think, a total of about 4 times our site. I suspect it is related to a glitch within our SQL database, which is why I don't put our documents, minutes, agendas, et cetera, within the database. I know Jody has a copy. I keep them external to WordPress within the server space, and those are audited daily. All of WordPress and the external pages are audited to make sure none of them have been corrupted, and we've never had a problem. But the 4 times have gone down is just a database issue. Once I restore the database, it comes up and everything's working fine. So anyway, WordFence is the company.
Great. So the one from Homeland Security also mentioned that 2 of the areas that hackers can get in through are printers and security cameras.
Yep,
So,
yep, the printer in there.
yeah, so they all come with default passwords.
Yes, yeah,
So that you gotta make sure you change the password,
yeah.
because the hackers will,
I don't know if, we would have to find out from our provider if we have the ability to change that password.
probably do, they just probably haven't told them,
Do it.
because they don't think about it.
Interesting.
Yeah. So the other thing, we talked about new logo for the village. I know there's been some discussion, and Carol and I talked about it. And I've got a colleague who designs logos,
Excellent.
and he's designed a couple, he did Hammersport and Watkins Glen. Sent us samples, they look good. So I'm gonna actually see him tomorrow. He works remotely, but he's gonna be on campus tomorrow.
Okay.
So I'll talk to him a little bit more about it, ask him to get us a proposal. So he's very easy to work with. I've worked with Rob since he's joined Cornell probably 12 years ago.
Yeah,
So
that's great.
I think we can get some ideas from him, and
Does he focus on just logos, or is that just,
he's
he's an artist?
the college's graphic designer,
That'd be great.
yeah.
I guess mine did.
He can do all kinds of stuff for us.
I think Carolyn ought to send the one that she used AI and say, here's what.
I'm super, no, I've seen the Batmansport one, it's much cuter. I'm super excited about Patrick's friend.
Okay, good.
We'll have to know about it.
Thanks, Pat. Anything else?
I think that's it.
The only thing I wanted to mention to you, Jody's probably aware of this, and I'm not sure if you all are, but we're going to have a substantial health insurance premium increase this year, 18%. It's just, it has not been a good couple of years for the health consortium. They're not alone, it's basically across the country. But they're looking to, they have to catch up. They've had a few outlier patients who had to use over $1 million in their treatments, and those are extreme examples, but we've had a few within the consortium membership. So we will have a high premium increase this year, potentially another one next year. But they're trying to balance their books and look at down the road, doing smaller increments rather than waiting for the issue to become so bad that you have to bump up the premium prices substantially. And that's a cautionary note to us that rather than wait till the last minute and raise our taxes immediately, I don't foresee this, that if we ever have to, we need to do smaller increments a little bit at a time. So that's always part of our budget discussion, but this is an obvious example of waiting too long, and the price is going to be hard for people at a time when things are already hard. So just a warning it's for our staff pretty much. So I think we'll be okay financially, but it is a big hit, bigger than usual. So, and that's all I have for tonight. I will move that we adjourn.
Second.
Susan seconds. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye.